Okay, the last film I'm reviewing this week is Survival of the Dead, and this is from the legendary zombie master himself, George A. Romero, the innovator of the zombie genre, going back behind the lens and on the computer for this being the sixth film in his of course, his zombie franchise. Now, I gotta say that this is some kind of entertainer. It mixes genres so freely. Survival is at times a western, a traditional splatter flick, a Looney Tunes cartoon, even you could say. Unfortunately, the result sometimes is a muddled film. But regardless of that, that's what brings the appeal to Romero's work. His trademark social satire delivers some really good moments, and some unrelatable characters, yes, but we can let that go. But what is fun is that the zombie genre has taken so much wildfire, thanks to films like 28 Days Later and even the Zombieland, and also in addition to many cult hits. Romero has a way of creating something with the zombie genre that just almost seems downright silly, but at the same time, it's almost like it's taking itself seriously on the surface, but it's not. But what I mean by taking itself seriously is that it completely levels off into a natural world, and that's what I love about his zombie films. And it goes back to, of course, Night of the Living Dead. Now, Survival of the Dead takes place on a fictional Plum Island where two Irish families have been at war for decades, yada yada. It's a cliche story, but that's how these zombie films start out, right? The O'Flynn clan, led by Patrick, believes that zombies should be killed immediately, no questions asked. The Muldoons, however, led by Seamus, no, not the wrestler, think that the zombies should be kept alive in case there's a cure for their condition is ever discovered. Now, stuck between the feuding families is a band of AWOL National Guard soldiers, and of course they were actually seen in 2007's Diary of the Dead, a good film in its own right, who only want to find quiet place to write out the zombie uprising in peace. Now, I would describe the plot further, but there's really nothing else to say. A few conventional zombie cliches pop up, but again, they're really done well, and Romero just has the way of doing that. The bulk of this film consists of O'Flynn and Muldoon patriarchs taking turns complaining about one another. Now, there's also a few subplots surrounding this film. I guess sometimes they're either interesting or they're just plain uninteresting, and it involves, of course, the soldiers. But none of them merit any really spectacular attention, but they still lend a little something to this film. Now, I gotta say that of course on the horror side and on the zombie gore side and whatnot, there's a number of excellent creative zombie kills in this film, like there were in Zombieland, but not quite on that level. To me, Zombieland really just has broken new ground in terms of the zombie genre. Now, I gotta say for Romero fans that this is a must, and there are some great practical special effects here. Now, Night of the Living Dead will always be his best film, and with Dawn of the Dead 1978 version being a close second. I will say, however, that Romero still has so much more to give, and even though he's just turned 70 years old this year, I would like to see more of what he has to offer from not only this genre, but from other horror movies, period. He's done a lot, including the very underrated 1993 film, The Dark Half, starring Timothy Hutton. If you can get your hand on that one, I suggest you go for it. Now, this is another just great fun romp, and I thought it was even better than Land of the Dead and Diary of the Dead, two of his most recent films of the zombie genre, which, again, I like them both. And I like how his natural abilities, his mindset of zombies, just make them look like realistic beings that could really exist in our real world. And that itself is a master of horror. That itself is scary. If you can almost make something so make-believe, so ridiculous, into something seeming so realistic in what could happen in this world, it's just downright terrifying. Now, I know zombies aren't going to pop up around here anytime soon, but no. In all fairness, it's just something special, and I love it, and that's just why Romero is a master of his craft. So I give Survival of the Dead 3.5 stars out of 5.